Hey gang, this is e-learning for Thursday the 19th. Still continuing with our text A and P. Hopefully you're able to get that read and follow the instructions from yesterday's e-learning to have one foci, a couple pieces of evidence, and then hopefully you were able to kind of come up with a thesis statement where you could structure it in different ways. So we'll begin today just by kind of running through those foci and attaching them to things that we saw in the story. So our main character, Sammy, who's 19, is he changed or unchanged? That's gonna be something you're gonna have to kind of speculate on a little bit based on how the story ends, or I guess where does that change occur within the story. So that might be something for you to look for if that's one of the foci you want to tackle. Okay. The next one, relationships between the characters. So obviously an obvious one would be Sammy and the three girls walking through the store. Also the way he looks at and treats the other shoppers within the grocery store, and then with his co-workers, Stokesy, who is a few years older than him. He's married with kids, so he's obviously in a different situation from Sammy, so maybe think about that a little bit. And then also the relationship with his boss, I believe he's referred to as Lingle. So, how does he see him? What is the contrast between the two? Or maybe even in Sammy's mind, he feels there's some sort of contrast between the two. So those are some, smaller characters, sub-characters that you could focus on there. As I said in the previous lesson, setting is obviously important here because it is kind of the grocery store might be a symbol for a microcosm of society in some way. You have old ladies and you have housewives and you have these young girls that come in. You have obviously the people that work there. So keep that in mind if that's something that you're wanting to look at and explore a little bit. And again, that leads us down to symbol and imagery. The grocery store itself. The girls wearing bathing suits. Okay, so what? In a place that normally people don't wear bathing suits. So that's obviously something we want to take a look at and see what it's doing within the story, among other imagery in there. And then our last foci is a reliable or unreliable narrator. Obviously, this is told from first-person point of view. So do we trust Sammy? Are we on Sammy's side? Do we not like Sammy because of the way that he judges people in there? How do we feel about that, and how much do we trust his feelings and interpretations of the people that he serves in his job? So those are our foci. Also, eventually here when we get to the end of this assignment, you also need to incorporate your own interpretation of the theme, just like we did with the swimmer last week. So there's obviously going to be more than one. There is no right or wrong. And, I've posted an article on Google Classroom for you to use to help you with that. Okay, so the criteria for our assignment is obviously going to be to use one of the thesis statements that you came up with on the previous assignment, to use those two pieces of evidence from the text. They can either be quotes or you can simply just paraphrase events from the plot. Just give me the heads up there that that's kind of what you're doing. And let's just continue with what we've been doing all year. The 8 sentences. Start with the thesis, idea, evidence, explain, idea, evidence, explain, and then some sort of summary sentence. Okay, but now to add to this, and I hope it's not too much, it's a very short article I would like for you to read that article because it hits on a lot of things I just got done talking about and things we focus on anyway, and just incorporate a quote or an idea from that article to eventually make our paragraph 10 sentences. So just find where that would easily, be inserted into your own ideas and your own writing, and just to kind of bring that all back home to what the story was about. All right. So try to get that to me, as soon as possible, so I can kind of go over it and maybe give you some feedback on that. And if I can come up with one more assignment for this particular story, I will. If not, we have a couple of shorter stories on that same PDF that we can move on to. So again, do the best you can. If you got any questions, let me know, and hang in there.